Hello, everybody, and welcome to DraftKings. That's right, this is DraftKings FC, where we talk about the glorious game of football, or soccer, as the Americans like to call it. And this is the international break. That's right. So last week was week 7 of the English Premier League, and next week will be week 8. But we've got this dead zone right now of the international break. So we're going to ask some big questions about the first 7 weeks, I suppose. And joining me, as ever, right here in this not in any way CGI green-screened football pitch is, to my left, staff writer for DraftKings, Jamie Hinks. And over there, that's right, our rampaging European football correspondent, Edo Del Monte. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Very good.
Very well, thank you.
Excellent. Right, so questions. The first question I've got, just off the top of my head, is one close to my heart because I am a Chelsea fan, and I want to talk about Diego Costa because Chelsea, so far this season, played pretty well against, say, lesser teams, but have come unstuck against the 2 real tests so far in Arsenal and Liverpool. However, Diego Costa has been firing. He's got a start to this season, very similar to 2 years ago when Chelsea won the league. Gentlemen, how well can he do this season on current form? How many goals can he score? Jamie, I'll start with you.
I think he's going to have a very good season. He's one of the strikers that I talk to people that don't support Chelsea. He's one of the strikers that people really fear in the Premier League because he just scores goals, and that's what you want from a striker. It's so hard to buy strikers that score goals. United kind of got lucky getting Zlatan for free this summer, and he's scoring goals. But Costa, he's just goals, and I think he's very, Conte's very lucky to have him. I think he's the only one who can get close to Aguero in terms of goals this season. And if you look at them last season, they both kind of had in different seasons. Aguero because he was injured, Costa because he was in bad form for Mourinho or other reasons. I'm not sure, I don't know entirely. But yeah, this season I think it's going to be them two for the Golden Boot. I think Costa's slightly more fantasy relevant just because I think there's more goals in City's lineup than there is in Chelsea's. I mean, with Chelsea, it's basically Hazard, it's basically Costa, a little bit of Hazard, a few goals from Willian, I think, and that's it. Whereas with City, it's Aguero, it's De Bruyne, it's Sterling, it's even Iheanacho if he comes in. Even you've got the central midfielders, the deep central midfielders chipping in with goals. You don't see that with Chelsea. But yeah, I think if I was picking anyone at the moment, it would probably be Costa just because of that. I mean, I know Aguero gets these point hauls of 50 points, but they're typically against the kind of teams you beat up on. They're against Steaua Bucharest and people like that. They're not against Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham.
As proven recently, Aguero, we all thought he was going to step up against Tottenham Hotspur last week, and it was anonymous, wasn't he? I mean, I do agree with you. Costa's been a mainstay in my DraftKings team so far this season, and he's justified his selection each time. I know you're a big fan of his. Edo, you're a big fan. What have you got to say about Costa's form so far?
Fell in love the season where he nearly dragged Atletico all the way to the Champions League, and then his body gave in. But that's how important he was. That's how precious he was. And yeah, he's kind of back in that form now. One of the things I was most worried about, and I think we've all been worried about this season with him, is suspensions. You know, his problems off the pitch, well, on the pitch actually mostly. But he's actually only got 16 yellow cards over the last 2 seasons. This is not including this one.
To be fair,
no, I was expecting way more, and there's not that many reds. And you're going most of this kind of nonsense is afterwards when they take it to the.
I would say if there's one thing we can label,
really worries me.
If there was one thing we can label Diego Costa with, and there's many, but one thing is crafty because although he's only got 16 yellow cards, easily could have been 48.
Yes,
and as for the 1 red card, easily could have been 7. You know, he's incredibly good at conning refs. And I say that, you know, it's not good to accuse someone of being a cheat, but I kind of am.
And that's what bothers me, because Costa isn't just, a sort of originally Portuguese name. You know, there's loads of Italian Costas. You know, he played for Spain. Can you bloody play for us?
Coffee shop as well.
He would fit in, Inzaghi. Everybody's having, Filippo Inzaghi nostalgia. Have this guy in your team. He has drawn more fouls than anyone in the Premier League, except for Eden Hazard, who has 23, and our boy here has 21. I'm sure that a lot of those are at least quite questionable. Although he's a strong guy, so getting the ball off of him is difficult. I would say the over/under for this is probably in the 20 region, I would say. And I'm actually going to say just exactly 20. And so, yeah, he's got 13 shots on goal so far. He's getting less shots on goal. What I noticed from that graph earlier was that his shots on goal are not as high as other strikers. And I'm wondering if it's because Chelsea...
His shots-to-goal ratio.
His shots-to-goal ratio is incredible because he's got 13 shots on goal, 6 goals. So that's the thing. But I do wonder to what extent Chelsea need to modify a few things in that midfield. You want to get Oscar playing better. You want the team to rely on other players to score goals. You want those fullbacks. You want to see what Marcus Alonso can give you. You want to see what Azpilicueta can do back on the right. And especially I've noticed in a couple of those games, there was the Watford game, you needed to throw in Michy Batshuayi. And then all of a sudden that opened up space for him, and that worked against against West Ham too. So I would actually go much higher than 20 if it wasn't for the fact that I think Chelsea still have a few things to sort out. And Conte, I would have said, is good at crafting a team, good at crafting a defence. Something in attack was lacking at Juventus and maybe in Italy, with Italy as well. So that's why I'm a little bit, but I still think very successful season. And yeah.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I'm not, even at the beginning, not entirely confident on the top 4 chances for Chelsea. I'm still dubious because, again, as I mentioned earlier, the 2 big tests thus far, Arsenal away and Liverpool at home, and Chelsea didn't answer the call on either. As for Costa, yeah, goals to shots, amazing. Absolutely amazing. In terms of DraftKings points, just imagine what he would get if he just let off a few, if he Harry Kaned it, as it were, and just let shots off on any opportunity.
Solomon Potts put it.
Yeah, just spurs it, just
the problem with Costa is comparing him to Kane. Costa can't take corners.
No, because we all know after this summer for England that Harry Kane is prolific at corners. Absolutely not. I've got to say, there's other strikers I'm pretty much got my eye on. I think Alexis Sanchez playing on his own up front for Arsenal, he's going to be a big wield as well. And he's someone that's going to be very hard to ignore in your DraftKings picks. Aguero is Aguero. And you know what? I'm going to throw a little word in for Troy Deeney. And I know you're going to say Benteke.
You missed one out. You missed one out.
I'm not going to miss out. Benteke will get his share, no doubt, and so will Lukaku. But that's it. The English Premier League does boast some very, very high-scoring strikers. Someone for you to pick all and every week. So there we go. Diego Costa, always number 1 in mine. But what about yours? Well, you should already know. But if you don't, just get the DraftKings app. Get it down to your phone, your tablet, your home computer. Play your friends, play us, play the world. Everybody, welcome to the big time.